What's up, you guys? Welcome to another edition of Yeehaw or Yee Nah. This is a show where I take a bunch of new country singles and I say whether I think they're good, yeehaw, or bad, yee nah. There's a whole gradient of answers in between those, and everything is timestamped in the description down below. So if you're only interested in a couple of these songs, well, you can just click around to what you're interested in. As always, these are just my opinions, so if you got thoughts on any of these songs, you can put them in the comments down below. And with that said, let's get into it. First up, we got the new single from Dierks Bentley called Gone. I think this song is totally fun and also totally unremarkable. It totally feels like a Dierks Bentley song, though. It's got the themes of movement that are in so many of his songs. I talk about that in my top 10 video on him, how there's a theme of travel and movement and transportation in his music. Sometimes he is drunk on a plane, sometimes he's taking a long trip alone, sometimes the girl's driving away and he'd settle for a slowdown, and then sometimes he's on a boat, and sometimes he's out in nature. That's just all very there in his music. It's clearly a theme that compels him. He even mentions heading down a highway and being gone faster than a freight train or farther than an airplane in this song, so all that stuff is still here. And thematically, this song is pretty similar to something like Somewhere on a Beach or Drunk on a Plane. He's broken up with and he is coping with it. This is not Woman Amen. He's not simping over his girl. He is instead sort of brokenhearted and drinking too much, and so there's a play on words where gone is the fact that he is traveling by himself or kind of hermiting away by a lake, but also he's drinking way too much and he's blasted and he's kind of gone mentally. I love the sound of the verses on this, and I think Dierks Bentley's voice sounds extra good. He just has such a good voice. The chorus, I feel like, is a little overproduced, and I don't love the kind of faster cadence when he sort of talk raps the back half of the chorus along with the A's. That just feels a little stupid to me, but I still really like the song. I think I'd give it like a strong yee. But that's always how I feel kind of about Dierks Bentley lead singles like Somewhere on a Beach or like Woman Amen. Generally, they are safe crowd pleasers, and this one definitely is freaking catchy. So it's somewhere between a yee and a yeehaw. Then I want to talk about Next Girl by Carly Pearce.
Hey, next girl, you don't know me. I'm just the one.
Carly Pearce is someone whose talent has always been so undeniable, and then when I listen to her records, I just have not liked the sound of them. She's someone that worked with Busby, who is a producer that has now tragically passed away way too early, and he definitely had a poppier production style, and so for this next upcoming album, she is working with Shane McAnally, and I honestly think production-wise, this is a way better fit for her. If you know any of Carly Pearce's story, you know that she used to perform out at Dollywood, and she actually has a really traditional background. And I think Shane brings a lot of that organic instrumentation to life on this song, and it sounds really good. And subject matter wise too, this song is pretty saucy and pretty fun. If you follow country music news, you might know that Carly Pearce and fellow country performer Michael Ray got married and divorced pretty quickly, and there's been a lot of allegations of infidelity and whatnot, and certainly this as a single release, she is moving on from her last album very quick and moving on to new material, would suggest that there is, where there's smoke, maybe there was fire. Basically, this song is her warning whoever the next girl is that her ex-man ends up with, and telling her, like, he's probably gonna smooth talk you and talk to you at the bar and then take you out to his car, but like, you're gonna be next, girl. So this is a little bit shady and at the same time kind of showing solidarity with this fellow sister. I think it really works. I think the little strumming of the guitar that you can hear makes it a little bit boppy of a song. I'm just giving this a big yeehaw. And then, not to be shady, but we also have Michael Ray's new song, Whiskey and Rain.
Whiskey and rain coming down.
Michael Ray is someone that's been growing on me for a few years. I think his original promo pictures with him just looking like this ridiculous model might have done him a little bit of disservice with some fans at the beginning of his career, but I think his last album was really likable. And it wasn't all dumb bro country songs. There was moments that were a little more heartfelt, solid songwriting, and a really good voice on things like Get to You when he does that whole falsetto movement. But I've never really liked a single off the bat as much as I like Whiskey and Rain. I think this song, I don't know if it's just because there's rain in the title, but it is giving me such Gary Allan songs about rain or Every Storm Runs Out of Rain vibes, and that's a huge compliment. I love Gary Allan. If Dierks Bentley's song Gone was sort of an exuberant take on feeling drunk after a breakup, this is the somber version of that. It's someone having trouble getting over someone, looking out the window and just drinking too much whiskey and not being able to move on mentally. The song was written by Jesse Frazier and Josh Thompson, and I gotta say, normally Jesse Frazier, when his name is on a song, it's always these super slick poppy songs, and I tend to not love things that he touches, but I love this. I like the combo of Michael and Jesse and Josh. I hope they made a bunch of songs together for whatever his upcoming album is, because I think this totally works. I don't think the lyrics are anything crazy. We've heard things about rain, we've heard things about bourbon being poured in glasses. Still, I really, really love the sound of it, so I'm gonna give it a yeehaw. Then we got the new single from Thomas Rhett called What's Your Country Song?
Are you whiskey bent hellbound? Even though your mama tried.
Now, in the scheme of Thomas Rhett, this song sounds a lot more country or rock influenced than standardly what sounds very pop from him. Things like Life Changes or T-Shirt. Over the course of quarantine, there's been a lot of things that Thomas Rhett has dropped on Instagram that have me taking a second look at him. It feels like he's trying to enter a new phase of his career. But for me, this isn't it. The song is just one of those that is literally listing just dozens and dozens of country songs, and they're not threaded together by any narrative more than simple nostalgia, which is just like everybody's got an anthem that they like. Is really just name dropping a lot of country classics, from things like All My Exes Live in Texas to Strawberry Wine. I feel like this has been done to death lately. Old Dominion did it on Song for Another Time, then Walker Hayes did it on 90s Country. You also see it in the pop space. There's songs like 1999 by Charlie XCX and Troye Sivan. I know Reliant K even did it on one album called That's My Jam. To me, it just feels like a gimmick that is kind of inane, that should be just a TikTok trend, not necessarily a single. There are times where doing that kind of name drop thing can serve a larger story. I would a little bit say that that's what Ladies in the 90s did with Lauren Elena, because it was specifically about wishing she could experience the femininity of country radio. A better example would be Record Year by Eric Church, a song that's taking a few specific albums and framing them in the mourning of a relationship process. But as it stands, lyrics like, "Did you cruise down a back road with your Dixieland delight? Are you on the Chattahoochee on a barefoot blue jean night?" To me, that does nothing to me here. It's just kind of like you get a slight giggle out of, oh, they mentioned that song. And why that took 5 writers, I don't know. But I'm just giving this one a yee, nah. And I really want to hear Thomas Rhett put out some of these other songs that I have seen him playing on Instagram, because they're freaking good. And since I mentioned Record Year, let's just talk about Hell of a View by Eric Church.
Ain't always heaven, baby. It's living on the edge.
Now, of all the songs that Eric Church, who, by the way, is right there, that's my little Knives of New Orleans painting by my friend Grace, of all the songs he's put out from his upcoming album, this is definitely the most immediate. It just kind of sticks with you in the same way that something like Springsteen kind of does, or something like Record Year kind of did. This is a song about reckless romance and just passion in a relationship. He talks about his toes being off the ledge with his woman and how they're standing on the edge of something great, and this is just such a view, the fact that they're rolling the dice instead of just living conservatively and chasing money. I love the line where he talks about how he paints with his Gibson. A Gibson is a guitar brand, if you didn't know. She paints a purple sky, but they're going to paint the town red tonight. To me, this is a super Eric Church song. The burning tires fits with the whole, aviators and leather jacket image, but it's the ever sort of evolving, maturing husband and father version of Eric Church, but it's reminding us, oh, he's still got that little bit of edge in him. He's not just a sap. He's still got that stick that in your country song side, as well as his loyal husband side. And so I just think it really works all the way around. This gets a yeehaw. Then we got 3 singles from Florida Georgia Line. They've been dropping stuff really quickly after their 6-pack EP, which I did not like earlier this year. I'm going to do these really quickly. The first one is Long Live.
Live long neck bottles and wide open throttles.
I gotta be honest, I think lyrically this is my least favorite Florida Georgia Line song, just because it feels like almost offensively cliche. Like they took every single thing about sun up to sundowners and name dropping Hank and pickup trucks and those torn up jeans and just put them in one song. Usually I think people are being over aggressive when they brandish that as a stereotype, but I mean right down to the fact that in a few videos ago someone made this on Reddit. I said, I feel like someone in bro country would say, we're just doing what we do. And then they literally say that. Look at this little clip. And instead of just saying bullshit stuff all through the record, like, we do what we do out here, which I'm guessing someone has sung.
24 hours later.
Just out here doing what we've always done.
The sound of the song is fine, but it's a big yee nah for me. The next song they put out is a song called Lil Bit, which is a collaboration with Nelly. It's actually on Nelly's project, where he's making kind of a country-influenced hip-hop album.
Take me to the country, show me where you're from.
And I'm gonna give this song a yee, Pardi, I feel like this has a lot more joy in the production, even though we're singing about swilling Ciroc and all our shawties that are riding beside us, and it feels kind of stupid on the surface. I feel like Tyler Hubbard really wants to rap always, and I just don't really buy it. But I do think that Florida Georgia Line, you can just feel their personality a lot in this song. There's something about it that feels a little more honest to me than the Long Live type stuff. And so I'm going to give this a yee. Obviously, it's not my style, but I don't think it's joyless. If we're going to have cliche lyrics, we may as well have a good beat on them. And then they have put out a holiday single called, not kidding, Lit This Year.
That Christmas tree ain't the only thing getting lit this year.
Guys, this is my favorite thing Florida Georgia Line has released in a long time. I think it's an awesome song. I think it's a funny title. I think the words are really detailed. I like the imagery of the dad being proud that he put up or he cut down and then put up a huge Christmas tree. I like that the guy Paul, I like that we just name drop Paul, that he's in the pantry drinking from a flask. Even the homegrown mistletoe, the kind of drug reference that is, and the fact that the Christmas tree isn't the only thing that's going to get lit this year. It's a funny song. And then I also feel like it's a way more country production than they have been doing ever since they started working with Corey Crowder as their main producer. Whatever the alchemy was of what they did on this song and the production style of it, I just think it sounds so much better and it's so much more kind of fizzy in my ear. If they're going to keep working with him, I think they should make more stuff like Lit This Year that's funny, detailed, actually has the instruments alive in the mix, and I'm going to give this a yee-haw. Or it should be a yee-ho, ho-ho for Christmas. Then we got Justin Moore's We Didn't Have Much.
We had it all when we didn't have much.
I'm kind of bummed Justin Moore is moving on from his last album, Late Nights and Long Necks, so quickly, or at least it feels quickly to me, since that album only had 2 singles, although I know with country radio these days, songs are on the chart for a freaking year unless you are Luke Combs. Still, I think between stuff like Jesus and Jack Daniels and Good Times Don't, there was so much life left in that album, but fortunately, the great production that we heard on Late Nights and Long Necks, which was such a return to form, to a more traditional style of just straightforward country from Justin Moore, and good songwriting, a lot of songwriting about drinking, that is definitely present here. This is a song that thematically reminds me a lot of something like Meanwhile Back at Mama's, or even We Were Rich by Runaway June. In fact, it's got the same exact thesis as We Were Rich, which is this idea that even though you didn't have a lot in terms of wealth and material goods, you felt rich. And in Justin Moore's version, it's, we had it all even though we didn't have much. And I also think the good similarity between them is that there's tons and tons and tons and tons of imagery. Is it the most different imagery in the world? No. But you still get some really good imagery, stuff like Tonka trucks and bacon in a pan and the red letters in the Book of John, and you really do feel like you are in this southern home when listening to the song. This was written by Jeremy Stover, Paul DiGiovanni, and Randy Montana, and I just want to say a note to you all that you should be looking out for Randy Montana's name. It is appearing in the songwriting credits of so many people lately, from Luke Combs to Riley Green. I know he co-wrote Parker McCollum's current single, and he was the original performer on Like a Cowboy, which is another Parker McCollum song. He is also a co-writer here, and I just feel like he's really having a moment as a songwriter. It almost reminds me of when Hardy was getting every single cut, and I mean, he still is, but I'm just saying, Randy Montana is here. I don't think this song is reinventing the wheel in any way, but I'm going to give it a light yeehaw. Scotty McCreery also has a new one. It's called You Time. You time, red wine, sipping in the moonlight. You guys know I love Scotty McCreery. I think his comeback story as getting dropped from a major label and then coming back as an independent artist and recording a pretty traditional sounding country record and getting 3 #1 singles off of it is really impressive, and it's really cool, and I love to see that from Scotty. But whereas I really felt like 5 More Minutes stood out as something different from the rest of what was on the radio and really telling a story, the other 2 singles, This Is It and In Between, felt a lot more just kind of safe, and unfortunately I feel like You Time feels even more safe. This is a hallmark card of a song sung by a great baritone from North Carolina, but it's still boring. These are real lyrics that are in this song. climbing mountains, changing lives. Baby, I love what you do. You bring a smile to every face. You make the world a better place. You light up every room. The chorus is the most gallant and respectful way of saying, you know, I want to get busy with you. He says, let's get some me and you time. And maybe it's just about having a nice romantic evening, but it just feels really, really boring. I mean, if I'm going to call out boyfriend country with the Snaptrack dudes, I gotta say it when Scotty is doing it as well. It just feels super cheesy to me, and I know he won American Idol, but that doesn't mean every song needs to sound like an American Idol anthem where we are chasing a magic rainbow, as David Cook once sang. I think the sound of it is really tasteful. I love Scotty's voice, but it feels super cliche. I'm just going to give it like a yee. Next up is Darius Rucker's new song, Beers and Sunshine.
Beers and sunshine, bonfires in summertime.
I have very little to say about this song. I love Darius Rucker. All Right is one of my very favorites of all time, and this song is like an All Right version of All Right. It's about enjoying being on the back porch with your girl, and the only BS on your mind is beers and sunshine. That's cute, but there's very little to this song otherwise. It's your standard radio song with a super aggressive beat at the beginning and otherwise kind of unremarkable and unadventurous music, but it's also kind of a Hallmark card. If Scotty McCreery's song was like an anniversary card, this is a 10th birthday card or something. It feels boppy and happy, but super not exciting. It does not feel like a standout hit for Darius, at least to me at all. So this one just gets a yee. Then we got the song Just About Over You by newcomer Priscilla Block.
Why'd you have to come back in right when I was just...
If you guys don't know who Priscilla Block is, she blew up off of TikTok. I am working on a bigger TikTok video, so I'll probably talk about her more then, but I'm a huge believer in her talent. She is confident. She understands how to promote herself, how to engage with her own fans. Some of her songs like PMS and Thick Thighs,
You can't spell diet without doubt.
I think demonstrate a bold, humorous storyteller and someone that is willing to kind of put herself out there in her songs in a way that I think is hilarious, engaging, and smart. But of the 3 songs that I have heard from her, it's Just About Over You that has become the runaway hit.
When I was just about over you.
The song made headlines when it went #1 on iTunes. Then she got signed to a record deal, and now it's very quickly climbing the radio chart. And there's something about this lyric, which is almost a need you now moment, kind of like by Lady Antebellum. It's a song about having that kind of late night pining for an ex, and it's about seeing him at a bar, and she's gone out and is feeling good about herself, but then just when she thought she was over this guy, she's not over him. And something about that inability to move on and sort of feel entangled still in an old relationship must really connect with people, because they're obsessed with this song. Now, I wish I liked the sound of the song more. Both the original recording and the radio edit has that kind of like slow electric guitar, very boring sound to me, and then the huge crash into the chorus, and I never liked the sound of that. I do appreciate, though, that out of all the late night booty call songs, this one just stays in the drum roll. It's not about driving over to their house late at night or calling them up and wanting to hook up in the middle of the night. The song is about just having that feeling of loneliness and sadness. It stays at the drum roll, I guess, and never crashes into the cymbals. And I do think that separates it from a lot of the other songs in this category about an unexpected rendezvous. Still, of the songs I have heard from her, I do think the lyrics here are overly wordy and lacking just kind of every line having enough punch. And I don't think it's the prettiest melody. As much as I believe in Priscilla, I'm going to give this one like a lower yee, to be honest. But huge believer in her, so we will see where she goes from here. I also want to mention the 2 songs that were the extras on the deluxe version of John Pardi's Heartache Medication re-release. Bar Downtown is a jam, I will admit that, but I just want to give a shout out to Beer Light.
With light beer in a cold can.
This song fits in perfectly on Heartache Medication, and it just has the most lush, smooth, beautiful production that made that album so special. This is a song about being heartbroken at a bar, drinking a light beer underneath a beer light, and it is beautiful. From my limited knowledge of Keith Whitley, it kind of does give me Keith Whitley vibes. It also makes me think of Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn. It's just bellissimo. With that said, that is all I've got for today's video. I'm going to get to editing this and posting it. You let me know what your thoughts are on these songs down in the comments below. I know there's a bunch of albums I got to catch up on. I was listening to Cam this past weekend. Whatever the song is about the wedding near the end of the album, that song rules. I have a bunch of other albums I listen to as well. Brothers Osborne, they're all written up here. The Keith Urban album, the Riley Green EP. I will make that at some point, but we're going to do a bunch of other videos coming up soon. I'm back, baby. I'm back. So, love y'all.